You know, at first, um, at first, I would write my feelings on paper, and since my injury, I have started to record my feelings on my phone. But I find it more endearing and personal than sharing my feelings visually. These recordings were made by Kenny Cruz, host of Gaytopix, the only gay source for hot topics and gay news. Remember, you're always in the mix with Gaytopix. So, when I see myself in the video, it makes it, for me, I see someone in pain. I see someone who needs a hug. I need someone who needs to be loved. I see someone who wants to be loved and needs to be loved. I see someone wanting and needing acceptance. Someone who's been alone. Someone who is not clear to the latest trends or what's going on socially in his neighborhood. I am a neighbor, but none of my neighbors know me. I don't have any family, and the ones that are alive don't accept me because of my sexual orientation. Now, I'm no, RuPaul's Drag Race queen, but I think I look pretty okay, you know. Not to mention the fact that I have what they refer to as the bug. Yes, I'm HIV positive, but I was a successful porn star. Think about that for a second. Majority, if not 95% of the people who are in porn are HIV positive. But living in the LGBTQ community as a gay man, having HIV is irrelevant to success. Most people take PrEP now, so contacting the virus is damn near impossible. Moreover, studies have shown someone who is HIV positive and continues to take their HIV regimen to remain an undetectable viral load cannot transmit HIV to another person. So, raw sex is where it is. And gay men love to have raw sex. But the stigma associated with HIV is really disturbing. This pandemic has really affected a lot of our lives, forcing us to be in isolation, all alone. And the only interaction we had were through Zoom meetings or through the delivery man knocking on your door for your delivery from Amazon or your food delivery. We were stuck alone. But I realized that my life is no different. It was no different than what it is now. People say we're getting back to normal because the pandemic is over, but what was normal? Everything was normal, I should say. Everything was fine because nothing had really changed for me. Aside from my dog, BillClinton, who lived 21 years. I cannot stress that enough. 21 years I had my dog. And a neighbor told me once that when she first saw me, her daughter was in kindergarten. And she saw me again a couple of years later, telling me that her daughter is now, in college and my dog is still alive. To me, that was like the magnitude and the years of being with someone emotionally for that amount of time. And him passing away really devastated me. I have a movie in the works. I've recorded a lot of his memories and our memories and his good times and bad times. So I hope to present that to you shortly, but just talking about it is a good thing because it helps. One thing that doesn't help when you talk about it, I'm going to tell you 3 reasons. One, whenever you talk about it, because if you're in my situation, you have no friends. You don't have any family or friends. So you have to call a crisis hotline. And I've been doing that. In Zoom and everything, I've been doing that. But the problem is that I'm constantly repeating my story over and over and over and over again. I'm doing it tonight. I'm constantly recording stuff that if people knew me would know how painful and a really bad experience of what I'm going through right now emotionally. My life is damaged. It's been damaged for a long time. What was left of my mental health being and my strength was there when BillClinton was alive, but now that he's gone, it's completely broken and damaged. What is my purpose? What is my purpose? I was sexy as fuck, and people did not like me. I'm ugly as fuck, and people don't like me. I have a profile on Tinder and Adam for Adam and Grindr, and nobody likes me. I'm going through this emotional pain and stress, and yet nobody likes me, and I'm repeating it over and over again to strangers. You can find how annoying that can be. It's pretty redundant and frivolous, like a broken record. After all, isn't the definition of insanity going through the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result? Number 2, the fact that I don't have anybody or people to actually give me a hug or accept me is pretty much gone. BillClinton is gone, but he is the only one who embraced me. He's the only one who's been kissing me and loving me. Oh. You can see why I don't want to do this, because the focus is clearly, I'm on camera. I have to maintain focus, and I can't. But visually, I think you need to see the pain that I'm currently suffering. I'm in a tremendous amount of grief. I'm a U.S. veteran, served sergeant in the infantry canine division. I told someone the other day that, because I was calling one of those crisis hotlines and had to tell my story all over again, that why did it do that? Should I just keep recording? I remember telling somebody I hate calling those prices hotlines. I really do. Because one, you have to keep repeating yourself over and over again. Two, they ask you the same stupid questions. Like one of them was like, are you hallucinating? Do you see people? Are you talking back to the people? Do you hear voices? I was beginning to think that maybe perhaps that was actually a good idea because no one knows me. No one talks to me. BillClinton used to talk to me, but he's gone, and that's the reason why I need someone else to talk to me. That's the reason why I'm calling you. So you were putting that idea in someone who is very vulnerable by asking that question, and that's not a good idea. That's not good. Secondly, they ask if you had suicidal thoughts or of committing suicide. Even if you call the National Suicide Hotline at 1-888-273-TALK. It tells you, they ask you the same question, and I find that really intrusive because we all know what's going on with police today, and there are many calls for action for reform of the police or defund the police, and defunding the police is not the answer. I have many episodes where I explain to you why defunding the police has never been the answer. They need retraining. They need to be retrained. It's point blank and simple. They need to be retrained. We need police to protect us. This whole thing going on with the NYPD and the gay pride parade it really makes sense though, because in 1969 they were really using an excessive amount of force for people who were just outside spending their Saturday nights, at a local bar, just because they were LGBTQ, it's the Stonewall riots will, in fact, be our history as LGBTQ community. So, back to the suicidal thoughts. When they ask you that question, are you having suicidal thoughts or do you feel like you're committing suicide? Do you really honestly believe that I'm going to tell you yes? With all what's going on with the police departments and everything like that throughout this entire country, especially here at the NYPD with over 30,000 police officers, in which they rudely denied my application to join the police academy after serving 10 years in the canine division of police. I don't understand. Something has happened to me, and this pandemic has really made me realize that I had it and it's gone. Beauty fades, unless you have money like Kim Kardashian, but beauty fades, and my beauty has faded, my talent has faded, and all the years that I've had as an adult man and continue to have as an adult man are spent alone. I've never been in a relationship. The last time I had sex was on my famous movie with Antonio Biaggi in 2013. No, it was 2012. It was Christmas Day 2012. People don't like me, and I don't understand. I think my vulnerability is my strength because clearly my body wasn't, nor was my beauty, nor was my law enforcement, nor was my love and friendship and journalism and pride. My own community doesn't accept me. My own community doesn't accept me. What the fuck is wrong? What? People always want to continue to blame me, but isn't the point of life supposed to accept each other as who they are? If I am a certain way, why don't you accept that? I accept you and your transgressions and everything that you've done and what I've heard as what it is, and I still remained or tried to be your friend. And no one has stepped to that level with me. I've met so many people in my lifetime, and it was always like a one night stand to me because I would never see them again. And then I hated when technology started because at first they would write their number down on a piece of paper, and most often it was a fake number, but as technology advanced, like, look, bitch, I'm calling you now. This is my number. But even with that, I remember waiting weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks for someone that I met, that I cruised and couldn't believe that I was actually cruising, and we exchanged numbers, and he told me to give me a call. And speaking of Christmas with Antonio Biaggi, I sent him a really sexy Christmas card, and he never responded. And I felt really offended. So many people I've reached out to. So many people. I can't count. Oh my God, if I'm allowed to show you what I've gone through in my emails with people, there's too many receipts. I don't know why people don't like me or give me that opportunity to succeed. Here's a good story. I met this guy in a bar, and he liked me, and he gave me his name and information, and he told me that I would make a really good flight attendant. I've heard that many times before as well, but I never really thought about it, because I was in the military and that was my job, my primary focus, and waiting for the NYPD to accept my application in the police academy. But I thought while I was waiting, why not? So I did. And it was for Continental Airlines. They're not in business anymore, but the pilot specifically told me things that I had to do, in order for me to proceed with the application process. And so he gave me the opportunity to have an interview. Now that you must really understand is a really like VIP type shit, because no one gets called to be a flight attendant. Thousands and thousands of people get rejected for that job opportunity. In fact, when I actually went on the interview, there were over 250 people for one job. One job. So, the first step of the interview was everybody had to go on and say, welcome aboard Continental Flight Airlines 792 on board to Orlando, Florida from New York City. Expected weather to be 78 degrees, cloudy but sunny. Please take notice of your oxygen, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember what it is. And exit doors to your left. I can't remember what it is, but... But it was interesting because after you said that, you were handed a slip of paper. And the piece of paper told you to meet you in, gate 6 in Terminal 5, in the Starbucks. And I'm like, oh, interesting. So it was like I was Nancy Drew trying to find gate 6 in Terminal 3. But I did, and this time it was an interview, and they asked me, why I wanted to be a flight attendant, and I said, because I think it's in my personality. I'm very friendly, very outgoing, very personal, and very endearing, and sincere. And most people think that that's a good job. And she said, why? And I said, when people look at you, like specific people, like, oh, they look like a mailman. Oh, that's a perfect job because they actually look like a mailman, or a teacher, or a doctor. There are many, studies showing in that aspect that certain people actually look like their jobs, and people told me I actually look like a flight attendant. So she hands me a slip of paper, and I go on to that, and in the meantime, while I'm going through these, gates and exits and shit like that, my bad. While I'm going through the terminals and exits and stuff, I'm talking to my friend, the pilot, and he's a 14-year veteran of Continental Airlines. So he was an excellent referral. So I thought, whatever was happening, them giving me these slips, I was going to be okay because the referral and seniority of the referral as a pilot, would really open the doors for me. So I get to another gate. I think it was a Dunkin' Donuts, and we sit down, and she asks me, who is the most person you look up to in your life? And I said, Martha Stewart. She looked at me funny, and when she looked at me, I knew instantly it was the wrong answer. And I think it's who do you look up most to as a female figure, or who is your most female figure that you inspired by, something of that nature. But I said Martha Stewart, and she looked at me kind of puzzled, and I said, because this was at the time when she was in jail. So I said that she was a grown woman, very successful woman, who risked her job and life to prove herself, and accept the fact that she did something wrong and be held accountable for it. And she had to go to jail, and she served her time, and she came back only to be more successful. I am very proud to see Snoop and Martha, you know what I mean? She got this new show, like, where she's, like, chopping hedges and shit. Like, I never knew you were into plants, Martha. You were always in the kitchen. It was kind of interesting. Like, I wonder if she's smoking weed, too. She's had a lot of work done, but she looks very sexy. You see how I think, like, looking into the camera, it just, to me, it feels very more personal, and I don't know how many of these I'm going to have, so just like with my dog BillClinton, there are plenty of videos. As I said, I'm creating a movie. There are plenty of videos, and I think if I do the same with myself, my legacy will live on. People may not know who I am now, but they will know me soon. Please pray for me.